Christine, how much does it hurt the WNBA when Caitlin Clark is out?
It is devastating to the WNBA when Caitlin Clark is out.
Now, I know a lot of us were expecting some sort of dip since Caitlin Clark has been out with injury, but I don't think all of us were expecting the entire viewership of the entire WNBA to be down. And this tweet from Christine Brennan really stuck out to me. She said, one player gets injured and more than half the TV audience for the entire league disappears. Has any other athlete ever had that kind of impact on a sport? Golf without Tiger definitely dropped precipitously on occasion. But
this is the story of how a league keeps hurting itself while its golden goose lies injured on the sidelines, and how their obstinate refusal to accept reality is costing them millions of dollars every day. The WNBA is in a devastating financial freefall, watching helplessly as their entire empire disintegrates without Caitlin Clark on the court, and once again demonstrating that this league has learned absolutely nothing about protecting the one player who single-handedly brought them from obscurity into the spotlight.
And the truth is the truth, and the data is there. And what we saw when Caitlin was out the last time, the 5 games that she missed earlier in the season, the WNBA's viewership dropped more than 50%. Not just the Fever, but the entire league.
Facts are as uncommon in this era of manufactured drama and social media controversy as sold-out WNBA games without Caitlin Clark. On May 24th, when Clark was sidelined with a quad injury, the harsh reality of the league's reliance on one player was made public. Now that she is out again with a groin injury, who knows when we will witness a recurrence of what transpired.
quad injury jumped to her groin likely because of compensation. But the thing that you have to be careful of is if, say, you try to rush her back from this injury as well, then you're getting into this territory where a very serious injury can happen. That is what the Indiana Fever, that is what Caitlin need to avoid the best that they possibly can. So if it means that Caitlin is out for 3 weeks, if it means that she is out all the way through All-Star, then so be it.
The number of people watching WNBA games on national television fell by an astounding 55%, with games involving the Indiana Fever seeing a 53% decrease in viewership from an average of 1.8181 million when Clark played to just 847,000 without her. But this is where the story becomes completely absurd, and by absurd, we mean predictably disastrous for a league that doesn't realize its own mistakes.
And Clark went down. The WNBA ratings have dropped over 55% across the board.
Hey, guess what, guys?
The league is Caitlin Clark.
The league is Caitlin Clark. She is the WNBA, guys.
Sidelined with a left quad strain May 24th. National TV viewership has plunged since then 55%. Before the injury, the Fever, her team, were averaging 1.81 million viewers, almost 2 million. Since her injury, fewer than 850,000.
While Caitlin Clark was busy doing what she does best, filling arenas to capacity, shattering television ratings records, and making record-breaking money, the WNBA was busy doing what they do best, doing nothing to safeguard their most valuable asset. It seems that when a player is solely in charge of 26.5% of all WNBA economic activity, it makes sense to allow opponents to target her with impunity while lecturing everyone about basketball plays.
News is alarming for the league, and it's alarming for the league because this is such a crucial year for the WNBA. At the end of this season, the WNBA will go into CBA negotiations. If negotiations go well, then every single player in the WNBA has a much better chance of making so much more in their next contract. And that's one thing when you start thinking about how many people stopped watching when Caitlin Clark got injured. A lot of people stopped watching because they are boycotting the WNBA. They don't want to give viewership to any other teams or any other players, whether they like other players on the team or not, because of how the media and the league itself has handled Caitlin Clark and how they have treated her fans.
This isn't the first time the WNBA has seen their revenue and ratings plummet when their biggest star is hurt. It's like watching someone touch a hot stove and get burned, then instantly reach for it again while claiming they had no idea what would happen. What's particularly fascinating, by which I mean extremely infuriating, is how this exact scenario has happened before, but the league seems incapable of learning from their own history.
What's really concerning about this is the fact that we are only a month into the regular season, and Caitlin Clark has already been out with 2 injuries. With the first one being her having to miss some time with a left quad strain. Now, of course, this is concerning because if you're already on your second injury, you don't want to be that player that is always hurt. Cough, cough, Embiid, cough, cough, Anthony Davis. So I really do hope that the fever really sits her out right now for a while, only because you don't want her to have more long-term injuries and be more prone.
If you like it, please subscribe. The Fever Games ticket prices have fallen by 71%, with some seats down from $860 to barely $250, making the financial destruction rapid and brutal. The average cost of tickets for all of Clark's missed games dropped from $1,370 to $80. This is a startling drop that shows who really generates interest in this league. Road games that were rescheduled to bigger arenas, especially to meet the demand for Clark tickets, are now having trouble filling venues that would have been overflowing with people when she was there. The cost of tickets for one of the season's most anticipated games, the Chicago Sky vs. Fever rematch, dropped from $210 to $95. Without Clark, this clash, which previously drew 2.25 million people and was one of the most viewed WNBA games in history, would just be another game that casual fans would not care to watch.
Congratulations to the WNBA. Your ratings are going to drop by 55 to 60% once again. I believe the WNBA has successfully broken Caitlin Clark.
The seasoned sports journalist Christine Brennan, whose forthcoming book on her game, Caitlin Clark and the Revolution in Women's Sports, promises to reveal the league's shortcomings, has been among the most outspoken opponents of the WNBA's treatment of its star player. The WNBA still fails to meet the standards. According to Brennan, following yet another instance in which opponents targeted Clark, people are paying closer attention than ever before and witnessing this. It's like watching a restaurant owner let patrons harass the chef whose food is the only reason people come in. Brennan's criticism gets right to the heart of the issue. The league has data indicating that Clark alone attracts more than half of the league's TV audience, yet they still permit her to get cheap shots and hard fouls that try to intimidate their biggest draw.
As big a deal as Tiger was in men's golf, Keith, he did, and when he was gone, it affected the ratings, but nothing like that. And, Michael Jordan being out, maybe a 5 percentage points or something. Nothing like this. You can make a strong case, and I will make that case, and have that there is no one single athlete more important to his or her sport or tour, or whatever the circuit is that they play on, than Caitlin Clark is to the WNBA.
5 of the league's 30 flagrant fouls awarded in 2024 were committed against Clark with the Chicago Bulls, and the pattern has grown both predictable and annoying. Clark is frequently fouled by opponents who appear more concerned in making statements than playing basketball. It's a no-win situation that the league has created and won't address, and Sky is accountable for 80% of the flagrant fouls against her. When she reacts to the physical play, she is criticized for being too aggressive, and when she doesn't respond, she is criticized for being soft. Meanwhile, the financial impact continues to devastate not only the Fever, but the entire WNBA ecosystem. Despite the Clark-driven surge in popularity, the league was already predicted to lose $50 million this year, and those losses are mounting at an alarming rate as television ratings plummet, merchandise sales slow, and attendance figures fall back to pre-Clark levels.
I don't even know where to begin, man. I hope Caitlin Clark is okay. I want to know when this injury even happened, bro, because let's be serious here. She has the quad injury. Mind you, Caitlin Clark hadn't missed a game since she was like 19 years old, since she was like 18 in college or something. Now she has a groin injury. We've never seen Caitlin Clark play as bad as she played the last 3 games. Let's just be serious here. She's like 1 for 20-something on threes in the last 3. We've never seen her shoot the ball this way. I'll say that. Has she been hurt and playing through this?
The league could have welcomed her, protected her, and used her popularity to elevate the entire sport, but instead they allowed jealousy and small-time politics to taint what should have been a celebration of women's basketball. This is the most damning aspect of the whole situation. Clark entered the league as a humble rookie who frequently praised her teammates and diverted attention from herself. She handled criticism with remarkable grace and maturity for someone who was only 22 years old. The consequences of a Clark's injuries go well beyond ticket sales and television ratings. Corporate sponsors are increasingly doubting the wisdom of their millions of dollars invested based on the Clark-driven development. This circumstance highlights a serious issue with the WNBA's self-positioning. It appears like the league is torn between wanting to be recognized as a legitimate professional basketball league and embracing any manufactured controversy that could spark social media interest. Professional leagues uphold the integrity of competition and safeguard their stars. High school theater clubs stir up controversy in the hopes that someone would take notice.
The thing I admire about Caitlin, she's a warrior. She's tough. You hear me? Bruh, you just don't see players, you don't see female basketball players like her. I'm sorry. I done seen a lot of female basketball players, like I said.
The WNBA's failure to protect Clark has created a toxic environment where fans refuse to watch other WNBA games because they no longer trust the sport's competitive integrity. When your own fans say they won't watch games without your biggest star because they don't trust that the games will be fairly officiated, you have a serious credibility problem that goes far beyond ratings and revenue. The comparison to other professional sports leagues is stark and embarrassing. Can you imagine if the NBA allowed players to spend months targeting LeBron James with dirty plays while claiming it was just a competitive basketball league? The league would shut that down immediately and issue suspensions faster than you could say flagrant foul.